Donald Trump is quite possibly the most anti-free speech president that our country has seen in quite some time. I mean, just think about the times we are living in. We have a president of the United States who's going around to different media companies in his private capacity. He's acting like a mob boss and shaking them down for millions upon millions of dollars, all because he didn't like an aspect of their coverage. And the sad part about the whole thing is many of these companies, they're just rolling over. They're bending the knee. They're not standing up for the First Amendment. They're not speaking truth to power like a media company should do. Instead, they're just settling with him, even though their cases would not even stand a chance of losing in court. And it seems like the most recent company that is going to settle with Donald Trump is CBS, because Donald Trump sued them for the way that they edited an interview with Kamala Harris. And because CBS is owned by Paramount, and because Paramount is trying to do a merger, and because the Trump administration has threatened to not allow that merger to go through unless they settle with Donald Trump, it seems like that's exactly what they're going to do. It is absolutely insane. Let's go ahead and get a quick recap of what exactly went down with this 60 Minutes interview, and then we will go from there. And if you do appreciate the work I do, please do remember to subscribe.
There's a story playing out between Paramount and CBS News, President Trump, and the Federal Communications Commission that any American who values a free and independent press should care about, including Trump supporters who should not like the precedent that is being set. The story started last fall when 60 Minutes interviewed then Vice President Kamala Harris. Then candidate Trump did not agree to sit down with the news magazine, but nonetheless, he protested how 60 Minutes edited the Harris interview, specifically the answer she gave after correspondent Bill Whitaker asked the vice president why Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was not listening to the Biden administration. Now, in a preview clip that ran on CBS's Face the Nation Sunday morning, Harris was shown answering like this.
The work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But during 60 Minutes airing, Harris gave this answer to the same question.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Now, CBS News explained the discrepancy by saying they had merely run two different parts from the same longer answer, and that is indeed what the transcript revealed.
So just think about how insane this is. You have a television program who put out a preview of the Kamala Harris interview, so they edited a part of the answer for that preview and then ran the whole answer in the 60 Minutes episode. So no shenanigans went on there, but Donald Trump and MAGA acolytes spun up this conspiracy that 60 Minutes replaced her answer with a whole different answer. And because Donald Trump won the election, and because he is interested in weaponizing the government against his enemies, that's exactly what they did. He sent his FCC after CBS, and the FCC got the full transcript and then released it. And when they released it, what did it show? That no shady business actually occurred. 60 Minutes wasn't doing anything improper. They were acting like any other media company. Sometimes you have to take a part of an answer and you have to edit it down for time or so you can use it for a preview or a commercial. And then when you air the actual episode, you get that answer in its full context. Donald Trump should be no stranger to this. He has sat down for thousands of interviews that have been sliced and diced to hell. I mean, just take a look at this example when Donald Trump was answering questions about the Epstein files.
Fox, in June 2024, aired this.
Would you declassify the Epstein files? Yeah, I would.
But that wasn't Trump's actual whole answer. It was a taped interview. And as Semaphore noted at the time, Mr. Trump, in the full, unedited version, sounded a lot less definitive about releasing the Epstein files. Here's the whole answer.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would, or at least...
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others. Certainly about the way he died. It would be interesting to find out what happened there because that was a weird situation and the cameras didn't happen to be working, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I'd go a long way toward that one.
Quite different, right? Now look, Fox had every right to make that edit.
Yeah, and Jake Tapper is exactly right. Fox News does have every right to edit their footage the way that they want to edit it. But the same is also true for 60 Minutes. They are allowed to edit their footage down how they want to edit it. But because Donald Trump is such a petulant child, and he bases his worldview off of all of these different conspiracies that he conjures up, he decided that 60 Minutes needed to be punished because they supposedly switched out a Kamala Harris answer with something completely different. We are living in the upside down. And this story gets even crazier because, like I said, Paramount is trying to merge with a larger company right now. And the Trump administration and Brendan Carr from the FCC threatened to not allow that merger to go through unless CBS came to some sort of, acceptable resolution with Donald Trump. So now you have a president of the United States leveraging his power in the government. He's weaponizing the government against a media company to extract millions or possibly billions of dollars out of them because he didn't like the way something was edited. I mean, this couldn't be more anti-free speech. I don't think I've ever heard of a president taking these types of actions. But because Donald Trump is a man baby who has a fragile ego and he is willing to use the government in a weaponized way like this is where we are. So, it is so insane to me. But listen to how the FCC, or rather the Trump administration, is trying to threaten the merger because of all this.
The 60 Minutes editing case would almost certainly fail spectacularly in court, according to legal experts. But Paramount Global, which owns CBS News, is currently trying to merge with Skydance Media. And in order to do that, Paramount will need the approval of the Trump administration, specifically the FCC, which, under its new commissioner, Brendan Carr, has suggested that Trump's news distortion complaint will be considered by the FCC before any merger can be approved.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Here is Brendan Carr making that exact claim.
Broadcasters are differently situated than other speakers. They get free access to a valuable public resource, the airwaves, and they're licensed by the FCC. And the exchange for that is they have to serve the public interest. I think it's important that we take another look at that and we reinvigorate it. There's also a news distortion complaint at the FCC still having to do with CBS, and CBS has a transaction before the FCC. And I'm pretty confident that that news distortion complaint over the CBS 60 Minutes transcript is something that's likely to arise in the context of the FCC's review of that transaction.
Brendan Carr claimed that he was a free speech advocate. But now he is serving as the FCC chair, or the director of the FCC. I'm not exactly sure what the title is. And now he is weaponizing the government against Trump's enemies. That is what is going on here. And he is threatening CBS, or Paramount rather, to not allow their merger to go through unless they consider Donald Trump's claim against them. What do you say to this? This is a president abusing his power. This is a president using the government to seek revenge and retribution, all based on a conspiracy that they tried to interfere in the election somehow by editing an answer from Kamala Harris. So, if this were to go in front of a court, obviously, this would not succeed. This is an absolutely ludicrous claim. There is no way in hell that Donald Trump would be successful in suing CBS just because he didn't like the way that something was edited. Especially when we have all of this evidence that Donald Trump engages in that exact same behavior. But this is what the MAGA fools do, right? They try to hold Democrats to a different standard that they are never, ever willing to abide by. And because nobody seems to be willing to stand up to Donald Trump and stand up for the values of this country and be a free speech warrior, they're just settling. It is just so disappointing. Here is a CBS employee who talked to Jake Tapper, and this is the expectation coming from Paramount's owner.
Everyone expects Sherry settles with Donald Trump. She is not concerned about her legacy, democracy, or the work we do. It's only about the deal, her pocketbook. The only way she wouldn't settle is if Skydance sent her a smoke signal to hold off. Surely they realize a settlement diminishes the brand and value of 60 Minutes, which they claim to admire and want to own, unquote. For Paramount to settle this suit would be hoisting a white flag of surrender. It would be the network of Edward R. Murrow, at the behest of its owners, saying, we will not speak truth to power, we will acquiesce to power at the expense of truth.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. You're just waving a white flag, saying, nah, you can just have the money. All because the owner of Paramount wants her, $8 billion? I mean, when it comes to big media companies like CBS, like 60 Minutes, these are the types of players that you would expect to stand up for free speech. And what kind of precedent does this set for the rest of the playing field? Are you going to have news agencies, drawing back on their coverage because they're afraid to offend the President of the United States? I mean, we are living in some dangerous, dangerous times right now. They are shredding the Constitution in more ways than one. All because Donald Trump wants to be an authoritarian. All because Donald Trump has a fragile ego and can't handle the slightest bit of criticism. This is where we are. It is absolutely disappointing that a media company would just bend the knee like this. All because the owner fetishizes money and is not interested in standing up for our democracy or our Constitution or the principle of free speech. And I can't tell what's worse, that a media company isn't standing up for these values, or that Donald Trump is weaponizing the government against a media company, all while claiming that he is somehow the free speech president. These people are pathetic. Every single one of them involved here. The owner of Paramount is pathetic for bending the knee. Donald Trump is pathetic for going after these companies and extracting money from them because his feelings got hurt because of the way a video was edited. But like I said, that's where we are today. This is important stuff, guys. We have a president of the United States shredding the Constitution, doing away with all the values that America was founded on. And if we don't push back against this stuff, then it's all just going to slip away. So I will leave it there for now. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We have to build something here on the left that can adequately push back against the right-wing media ecosystem because they launder all of this shit for Donald Trump without a care in the world. So if you do appreciate the work I do, please do remember to subscribe. If you want to see how Elon Musk's popularity is just falling off a cliff as he becomes the face of this Trump administration, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.